The only rule that the animal world swears by is survival at any cost. They will do anything in their power to ensure self-preservation, even if it means eliminating one of their own. As heinous as cannibalism might sound to the civilized world, many animals have been seen applying this strategy under extreme conditions. Although it's not unusual for predators to kill other species on a regular basis to feed themselves and their family, hunting down one of their own can mean more than an act of hunger. In today's video, we will try to explore the different causes for cannibalism in the wild by looking at 15 moments of animals eating their own species. Let's get started. Number 15. Primates. The primate species are considered the closest to the human race on the basis of their cognitive skills, understanding of the surroundings, physical appearance, and many more. However, there are some primate species that actively practice cannibalism, which is explicitly considered a taboo for humans. A ferocious battle between two rival chimpanzee gangs ends with a prisoner of war whose fate is sealed. The captive chimp is tortured by the winning troop, who brutally murders the victim moments later. The tribe settles down to rip the carcass and distribute it among the members to cannibalize the dead rival. Although killing an opponent during a fight is a common outcome of a war, devouring someone of your own kind is another level of barbarism. Two chimpanzees are feeding on a severed body part of a colobus monkey. From the look of it, the colobus monkey had fallen prey to these primates, and the brutality did not end with killing the victim. They munch on the carcass of their close relative and add some greens to their meal as well. A horrifying scene unfolds in the primate's enclosure when one of the adult monkeys was seen devouring a ripped-up carcass of another monkey that had all its insides dangling from the severed head. Number 14. Lions. Predators often hunt down other predators to reduce competition in their territory and ensure lesser claim over the food sources. Even though it's not a common phenomenon in the lion species to kill and eat their own kind, desperate times call for desperate measures. A coalition of male lions are hovering over a fallen female lion from another pride. They look confused and unsure about how to proceed in a situation like this. The victim seems to be injured and shows no sign of retaliation. One of the lions starts assaulting the wounded opponent while the others join in to attack and attempt to bite into the flesh of the victim while she's still alive. When a famished young lion cub spots the carcass of its dad, it hesitates for a moment before settling in to feed on the flesh. It's a rare sight, but the cub is evidently undernourished, and in order to survive in a desperate situation like this, this is the best or maybe the only option it has until it regains enough strength to hunt on its own. Number 13. Hyenas. Hyenas are already one of the most infamous animals in the wild, owing to their nasty, sneaky nature. They know no boundaries when it comes to attacking and killing other animals. Hyenas are primarily scavengers and feed on leftovers, and sometimes those leftovers can be one of their own mates. A downed hyena is being tormented by its barbaric companions. The attacking hyenas are feeding on the entrails of the fallen victim, who is still alive and writhing in pain. With its guts spilled out all over the ground, the victim is in no position to put an end to this suffering on its own and helplessly witnesses its doom as the cannibals feed on it. In this clip, a hyena is lying dead while the other hyena is digging into its flesh. It's a terrifying sight, and we don't know whether the downed animal was killed by its own kind, but this sort of cannibalistic behavior is shocking to see. The hyena devouring its fallen friend isn't ready to leave the carcass for the scavenging birds surrounding the scene. Number 12. Crocodiles. Crocodiles are unpredictable, ferocious, and ruthless, with a mind that works in a twisted way. There is no telling what will set them off, and it's even difficult to map their actions. Apart from having a preposterous knack of attacking anything and everything they set their target on, these reptiles don't even spare their own species when they get into a killing frenzy. Some unfortunate altercation led to this smaller croc being held captive by the bigger one. The attacker struggles to fit the whole prey in its mouth, and the hardy skin of the victim is making things hard. For a moment, it seems the attacking reptile is having second thoughts, but it soon snaps back and grabs the smaller one in its jaws before retreating into the water and enjoying its meal in the middle of the river. Cut to the chase, this crocodile cannibalizes on another croc in a horrifying display of brutality. By the time this clip was captured, only the tail of the unfortunate victim is visible for a moment before the attacker swallows the whole thing down its throat. Number 11. Polar bear. The polar bears have adapted themselves in unimaginable ways to make a living in the harsh, cold climate of the Arctic. Limited food sources in those regions makes daily meals a challenge for these animals. In order to survive through this food crisis, polar bears often resort to cannibalism. This male polar bear is seen devouring another bear cub in the middle of nowhere. The adult males often try to kill cubs, primarily because the young ones are easy prey. These kinds of catches provide them with proper nutrition and enough strength to defend themselves against competitors. This clip shows a mother polar bear running across the snow-capped terrain with her cub. They are desperately trying to outrun a male polar bear that's following closely behind. The mother could easily pick up speed, but she has to maintain pace with the young one. Taking advantage of this setback, the attacker closes in and overtakes the mother to get to her cub. By the time the female could defend herself and the cub, the ruthless male overpowers the young bear and nabs it in the waterhole. As the mother watches in horror, the assaulter rips up her baby and starts devouring it right away. Number 10. Leopard. Wild animals have to deal with death on a daily basis, and only the fittest of the lot have the best chance of making it out alive. In such crucial circumstances, predatory animals have to make sure they put their best foot forward, and the ones that lag behind are often eliminated. A male leopard attacks a cub and mauls it to the ground within minutes. The cub is no match against the adult predator, but makes a feeble attempt to hold back the attacker with all its strength. The adult leopard ultimately takes complete control of its victim and throttles the cub to kill it in a final strike. When the cub becomes unresponsive, the adult assassin carries the lifeless body to a secluded place to devour it in peace. Seated atop a branch, this leopard is chomping on a half-ripped carcass of another leopard hanging from the branches. The victim is long dead, and the cannibalistic attacker has torn apart the animal to feed on it. A leopard cub is left wounded from a previous clash with its hind portion pinned to a tree. The mother desperately tries to free its baby, and after struggling for hours, the cub manages to free itself, but its hind legs seem to have been crushed. The mother is aware that the cub will not make it through in this state and kills her own cub in a twisted act of mercy. The sheer scarcity of food in the wild forces the desperate mother to devour her own cub. Number 9. Alligator. Gators are no different than crocodiles when it comes to their dubious nature. With a monstrous appetite, these reptiles can and will attack anything that seems feasible and shows little consideration, even while killing their own kind. A dead gator invariably becomes a scrumptious meat platter for its mates. One of them grabs the gator and rolls over to rip off a portion of its body. The gator is flipped over to expose its softer underbelly, which is easier to bite through rather than the scaly back. The others frantically try to get a good bite of the carcass and attempt to pull it from the sides to tear it open. A starving gator ruthlessly smashes a smaller gator in the water to injure it gravely before gulping down the whole thing to satiate its appetite. Number 8. Stork. Storks are equipped with pointy beaks as a defense against other predators, which also helps them in hunting down their prey, like insects, fishes, frogs, and other smaller prey. However, there are times when their meals include one of their own babies too. A parent stork is tending to its storklets when it starts attacking one of them. The storklet is weaker and defenseless against the strong adult bird. The parent injures the nestling with its beak and makes several attempts to gulp it down. After failing to do so the first few times, the stork finally succeeds in swallowing its own baby. In a similar circumstance, this parent attacks the weakest nestling in its lot. The storklet seems wobbly and less developed than its other siblings, which might be the reason being this brutal execution. After inflicting several injuries, the parent tries to swallow the baby, and even though it fails to do so, the intention of cannibalism is pretty obvious. Number 7. Snakes. Snakes are one of the most vicious predators of the wild. While some of these slithering attackers inject lethal venom to subdue their opponents, some of the others opt for constriction to smother their prey to death. This venomous mulga enters the burrow of another snake and moments later drags out the miserable victim from its hideout. After injecting the venom in its prey, the mulga focuses on devouring the snake and slides down the whole thing at one go, displaying a clean kill. A king cobra is doing what it does best, eating one of its own species. It chews on the head of its doomed victim before pushing it down its throat, followed by the rest of its body, until there is no sign of the deceased reptile. Number 6. Wild dogs. Wild dogs are social animals that live and hunt in packs. They always look out for each other and work as a team to suppress opponents much stronger than them. But a ferocious fallout within or outside the pack might lead to the dogs turning against each other. This murderous gang ambushes one of their own mates and takes turns in sneaking a bite of the fallen member. Then the pack pulls the victim from all ends to tear it in shreds, while the dog is still alive to experience this horrific ending. The dogs continue to dig their canines into its flesh to fill their appetite. Number 5. Rabbit. Rabbits are herbivores and only rely on a plant-based diet, but sometimes a mother can devour its own litter due to several possible reasons. Improper nutrition, a weakened litter, or protection from predators might lead to such dreadful fate. This mother is chewing up its newborn a few moments after giving birth. The babies have not developed any senses and are still bare skin, indicating their delivery was not very long ago. In a similar ill-fated situation, this rabbit is devouring its own baby. It's difficult to state the exact reason that led to this doom, but this mother surely seems to be in some kind of haste to get the work done. Number 4. Scorpion. There are many absurdities in the insect world, one of which is cannibalism in scorpions. Sometimes, the adults feed on the vulnerable young ones, and sometimes it can also be the other way around. This parent is clasping 2 tiny scorpions in its forearms and munches on them. When food becomes scarce and survival is on the line, scorpions often display such cannibalistic behavior. Number 3. Komodo dragon. Komodo dragons are fierce predators that hunt down anything they find within their reach. Starting from birds to boars and their own members, Komodos are unstoppable killers without any boundaries. This Komodo is pinning down one of its contenders, which is comparably much smaller. The vast difference in size has rendered the rival defenseless, while the attacker tries to figure out a way of swallowing the whole animal. Number 2. Heron. To ensure the survival of its nestlings, sometimes birds eat the weakest of the lot to provide better facilities for the others. As gruesome as it might sound, this extreme measure might save the life of a bird that decides to do it. When this parent blue heron spots a weak and sick fledgling in its nest, it decides to exterminate it. The parent attacks the baby, and after a few strikes, the nestling becomes unresponsive. The adult bird makes a few failed attempts before managing to gulp down the whole thing. A grisly moment unfolds when a weak sibling is being tormented by the others in the group. The baby is possibly dead when one of the other kin shockingly gobbles it down entirely to have its fill of protein. Number 1. Bears. Many males in the animal community display aggression towards their own cubs, as well as the others. Male grizzly bears frequently hunt down cubs to force the mothers into mating again. This mother bear helplessly watches a male grizzly brutally mutilating and devouring its cub right in front of her eyes. As she advances towards the attacker, she contemplates her decision for a moment before lashing out at the vicious male grizzly. A vicious fight ensues, but the male eventually overpowers the female with its sheer strength. Defeated, the mother backs away silently without any further provocation. This clip starts with the bear family enjoying some playtime with their young ones. The adults keep a close watch on the cubs that are busy climbing the trees nearby. One of the adults approaches the tree, which the cubs are trying to mount, and follows their trail. With a sudden change in its demeanor, the bear starts chasing the cubs and soon grabs the one nearest to it and climbs back down. After hitting the ground, the bear runs to a more secluded place between the woods to devour the young one. That's all for today, folks. Which cannibalism clip do you think was the most difficult to watch? Let us know in the comments down below. Plus, don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family. To get more such amazing videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so that you can get notified every time we come with a new video. Have a great day, and we hope to see you soon in another exciting video.